Welcome to e-Semplice, where music theory is simplified. This video will consider how to write accidentals on triads. Briefly, what are triads? Triads are simply three-note chords. Triads can be built on any degree of the scale. When triads are built on the first degree of the scale, i.e. the tonic note, they are called tonic triads. Tonic triads consist of the root, which is the tonic, the third and the fifth degrees of the scale. For example, let's look at G major tonic triad shown in this illustration. That is G major tonic triad written without key signature. You can see the root, a third above the root and a fifth above the root. Triads can be written in two ways. One, you can write triads with key signatures. You can, for example, E flat major tonic triad. You can see there is a key signature prefixed before the triad. You can also write triads without key signatures, meaning you don't prefix the key signature, but you show the notes, you show accidentals on the notes having them. Let's say look at an example of E flat major tonic triad. Now you can see there is a difference. This video will focus on writing triads with accidentals. There are three scenarios to writing accidentals on triads. The first one is when only one note of the triad has an accidental. It is quite easy to write, so we are not actually focusing on this. Our focus will be on the next two scenarios. The second scenario is when two notes have accidentals, which is written first. And the third scenario, when the three notes of the triad have accidentals, which is written first and which is written thereafter. This video will focus on scenario 2 and 3 with examples. Now let's look at the second scenario, that is when two notes of the triads have accidentals. Let's take an example, example 1. Let's look at C sharp minor tonic triad. As usual, the letters in the scale of C sharp minor, the degrees of the scale. This is a minor key. You will have to raise the seventh note. If you raise the seventh note, which is B, it becomes B sharp. Now we are writing the tonic triad, so we have the tonic, the third above the tonic, the fifth above the tonic. As usual, stack them the way it will appear on the staff. So you have C sharp as the tonic, E as the third, G sharp as the fifth. Now let's engage a staff and let's write this on it. C sharp first, E second, G sharp third. Now you see the way I wrote out the notes without adding their accidentals. C is supposed to have a sharp, G is supposed to have a sharp, but I wrote them out first like that. Now let's move on. If I add a sharp first on G and then I write the sharp on C directly under each other, this is wrong. Let's look at another way, because these are some mistakes students make in exams. As usual, C sharp, E, and the fifth above it. Now let's look at another way. What if I write the sharp of G at that position and I now write the sharp of C? Is this correct or wrong? Of course, this is wrong. Let's move on. We now want to look at guidelines to writing accidentals on triads when two of the notes of the triad have accidentals. The first thing is the uppermost accidental is written first, closest to the note, while the lower accidental is written further away. Let's go back to our example 1, C minor tonic triad, and as usual the letters in the scale, the notes in the scale of C sharp minor, the degree of the scale, raise the seventh notes, and then the tonic, the third, the fifth, and then you stack. You have C sharp, E, and G sharp. We need a staff to work with. Now, guideline number 1. As usual, write out the 3 notes without writing their accidentals first. So you have C, E, and G. Let's look at the first guideline. The uppermost accidental is written first, closest to the note. So G receives its accidental first, written close to the note, and C sharp receives the accidental second, further away from the note. Please note, the space occupied by the upper accidental must be respected. That do not write the sharp of C directly under the sharp of G. Respect that space occupied by the sharp of G, and then move the sharp of the tonic further away from the note. This is now correct. Let's take example 2. A flat major tonic triad. As usual, the notes in the scale of A flat major, the degrees of the scale, the tonic, the third, the fifth, as usual, stack. You have A flat, C, and E flat. Now, let's try this. As usual, A, C, and E. Is this correct or wrong? This is wrong, because the flat of the tonic is written directly under the flat of the fifth note. That is the flat of E. Let's look at another way. Now the three notes again, and then I'm putting the flat of E further away and the flat of A close to the note. Is this right or wrong? This is wrong also. Now let's look at the correct way to add the accidentals. The three notes A, C, and E. Now remember, the rule is the flat of the uppermost note first, close to the note, and then the flat of the lower note. The space is respected. This is correct. Example 3. We are still looking at scenario 2, where two of the notes of the triad have accidentals. Let's look at B major tonic triad. As usual, the tonic, the third, the fifth stack. The three notes first, B, D, and F. Now look at this. The sharp of the first is written, of the fifth is written close to the notes, and the sharp of D is also written close to the note. And you see there's a clash. This already tells you that this is wrong. Now let's do this again with three notes. Now I'm writing the sharp of the fifth of F further away and the sharp of D close to the note. Is this right or wrong? Following our guideline, of course, this is wrong. The correct way to write this is your three notes as usual. Write the sharp of the sharp of F close to F, and then the sharp of D further away, respecting the space occupied by the sharp of F. Now this is correct. Example 4, let's look at F minor subdominant triad. Subdominant is the fourth degree, so the note at the base will be the fourth degree. So we have B flat, D flat, and F. E has already been raised, so that's why you don't find a flat on E, because naturally E should have a flat, but because it is the seventh degree of F minor, the flat is no longer there because that degree has been raised. So you stack the notes. Now we have that. So you have B, D, and F. Let's add the accidentals. Is this right or wrong? there's a clash, so it means it is wrong. Let's look at another condition. Now the 3 notes and this. Is this right or wrong? Of course, it is wrong. What is the correct way to add accidentals to this note? You have the 3 notes B, D, and F. The flat of D is written first, close to the note, and the flat of B is written further away. So respect the space occupied by the flat of D. This now is correct. Now let's look at scenario 3, where the 3 notes of the triads have accidentals. What is the guideline? 1. First, write the accidental on the top note. Second, write the accidental on the bottom note. Third, write the accidental on the middle note. Follow this order. Whenever the 3 notes of a triad have accidentals, the top note gets its accidental first, followed by the bottom note before the middle note. Let's take an example. Example 1. Let's look at F sharp major tonic triad. As usual, the notes in the scale, the degrees of the scale, the tonic, the third, the fifth, as usual, stack the way it would look. Now we need a staff. F first, A, then C. Now look at the guideline above. The top note receives its accidental first. So the sharp of C is written first, followed by the bottom note. The sharp of F is written second. Then the middle note, the sharp of A, is written last. Please note, the space of the sharp of C is respected. Nothing should be under it. And the space occupied by the sharp of F is also respected. Nothing should block that. So this is the correct way when the 3 notes of the triad have accidentals. Top note first, bottom note, middle note. Let's take another example. Looking at G flat major tonic triad, as usual, the tonic, the third, the fifth, stack. You can see the 3 notes have accidentals. Now we need a staff. So you write G, B, and D. Look at the guidelines above. D will get its accidental first, followed by G, and then the middle note B. The space is respected. The space is respected. So this is correct. Best of luck in your exam. Kindly subscribe to e-Semplice YouTube channel and hit the notification button so you get notified when new videos are posted. Many thanks for watching.